Motorcycle mods for beginners. What should you focus on? Stick around a few minutes, we'll get into it. What's up everyone? It's Alex. And by the way, as always, I don't mention it all the time, but if you like what I'm doing here and you like these videos, like and subscribe because it tells me that you guys like it and I will continue to make more of that kind of content for you guys. So today's video comes from a viewer question again, and I guarantee you I'm going to butcher the name on this one, so I apologize in advance, but the question comes from Zion Cho, who said, could you make a video on motorcycle mods for beginners and what we should prioritize on getting first? I just got a Honda CB300R. I know I should get some bike protection, but my budget is just enough to get either some protection or a nice exhaust. What else should I get / be thinking about? Okay, so when it comes to beginners and motorcycles and modifications, etc., here's my way of thinking. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion. This is how I look at it, okay? And this is what I would recommend. First off, if you're a beginner, you just got your first motorcycle, the very first thing you should be spending your money on if you have a limited budget is nice riding gear or decent riding gear for that motorcycle. What I mean to say is, if you just got your first motorcycle, you're a beginner, you're on a limited budget. If you don't have a decent helmet, decent jacket, decent gloves, decent boots, and long pants to ride with, you should be looking at those things first. If you already have all that, then let's move on past it. Now, as far as the exhaust or protective stuff goes, in my experience, the very first thing that brand new motorcycle riders go for, or really almost any motorcycle rider goes for with a new bike, is they want to put an exhaust on it. They want the sound cooler, they want the rumble, they want the exhaust, okay? If you've got your first motorcycle, you're a beginner, small motorcycle, whatever it is. If you've got your first motorcycle, you're looking at mods. If money is not going to be a problem, then sure, absolutely. Go throw an exhaust on your bike so that you enjoy riding it more. If that's what you want to do, that's fantastic. I've done it with almost every bike I've ever owned. Keep this in mind. If it's your first bike, I probably would not throw a $1,000 plus exhaust system on it because chances are you're not going to keep this bike forever, right? And when you go to resell it, whether it's to an individual or dealer or whatever, you are not going to get anywhere near your money back out of the exhaust. So keep that in mind. If it's your first bike especially, put an exhaust on it that's kind of reasonable in the price range. Just keep that in the back of your head as you're picking your exhaust out, okay? Because for most bikes, you can get an exhaust from a few $100 to a couple grand. Sky's the limit for expensive, fancy stuff. If you've had bikes for a while and you're getting a bike you plan to keep a long time, then absolutely, sure, spend the money on nice exhaust. But beginner, first bike, if you've got the money and you're going to put an exhaust on it, just make sure you think and choose cash friendly as far as the exhaust goes while also getting something with decent enough quality, okay? But if you've got your first bike and you're looking at mods, if you're on a budget like this viewer said, you can only get exhaust or some protective stuff from your bike. For God's sake, please get the protective stuff for your bike. Because the exhaust, whereas it might sound cool and it might help heighten your enjoyment of the ride a little bit, the protective stuff for the bike is going to be good protection to help keep you safe and help keep your new baby safe and help save you even more money if you do, God forbid, drop the bike, lay it down, something like that. It's going to help save you even more money in the long run. What I mean by protective stuff is if you've got say you've got a sport bike or you've got anything that's got plastics on it, usually you're going to want to get some kinds of frame sliders for it or some kind of protection so if it falls over or lays down, it hits the frame sliders or protective bars instead of your plastics, because you'll quickly figure out that plastics and fairings on motorcycles are going to be one of the most expensive things that you're going to replace if you drop a bike. So if you have a sport bike or anything that has plastics or fairings on it, you need to be looking at frame sliders or crash bars or whatever they call them for your particular model. Different models take different stuff, they call them different things, but frame sliders, crash bars, something of that kind. If you have a bike that doesn't have plastics on it, usually you're going to have a standard or a cruise or anything like that, you can still get crash bars for it, you can still get longer bar ends, you can still get things that will help protect the motorcycle overall in the event of a drop or a laydown. If you have a situation where you high side a bike, a lot of other things happen, it's very difficult to protect things at that point. But to directly answer the question, if you're looking at beginner mods for a motorcycle, the most common stuff is going to be things like exhaust, maybe different mirrors, different turn signals, or protective stuff for the bike. I would focus, if money's a problem, I would definitely focus on protective things for your motorcycle because those things are going to make you worry less about it, make it safer for you to ride, make it safer for the bike, and help save you money in the long run. All of those things will work together to make you enjoy motorcycling better, will make you build your skill set, and will keep you enjoying this amazing hobby and lifestyle for a long time, okay? So if budget's not an issue, get the protective stuff, get exhaust, do mirrors. Obviously, I'm a fan of doing mirrors on bikes, okay? I'm not gonna say don't do it. You know, if you got sport bikes, you can get tank protectors. You know, these are all inexpensive little things. I would not spend a huge amount of money modifying your first motorcycle because inevitably you are going to end up trading it or buying another bike or something. You're not going to get a whole bunch back out of those modifications, okay? If you've had bikes for a while, you already know what you want to do with mods. This video is not necessarily speaking to you, but thank you for listening to me anyway. So focus on the protective stuff first, and then if you have more money, sure, get an exhaust, just don't spend a lot, do mirrors, do turn signals, do whatever helps you enjoy the motorcycle more. If you look at the motorcycle you have, there will be a passionate community somewhere on Google or somewhere that will tell you what mods they have been enjoying for it. Look into that. But focus on the protective stuff first. I hope that answered the question. I hope it helped. I'm Alex. Peace.